welcome to today's marketing show. Today we're going to focus on social media paid advertising, otherwise known as SMM. Last week we talked about search engine marketing, so if you're on Google or Bing or whatever, getting your ads to come up. And today we're going to focus on social media because, you know, they say adults today spend up to 2 hours a day on social media, the people you're trying to sell to. And I can tell you, back when I was buying advertising as a VP of marketing and sales, I used to buy these bus stop ads, benches, you know, billboards. I spent $2,000 a month on a billboard and literally crossed my fingers, Cheryl, hoping somebody driving at 35, 40 miles an hour would recognize our ad. And you know, today, I think there's so many more options, which we'll talk about.
That's why I love social media marketing and just advertising in general, because you can do a lot of things directly to your audience. So the nice thing is that you know who your audience is. You can target your demographics lots of different ways, like age. You can target what they do for a living. You can target where they live geographically.
It's incredible.
You can also target based on their income on a yearly basis.
Right.
So it's great that way. You need to have a really good understanding though of what platform you're going to spend your money. So as an example, you want to pay attention to things like what posts that you're doing right now organically are performing well. And depending on the platform that they're performing well on, that's probably a good place to start. You also want to have a really good understanding of what your actual audience target is. So if you have a younger target audience, you might turn to Snapchat as an example. If you're trying to target just females, you might go to Pinterest, or B2B, of course, would be LinkedIn.
Think of it this way, and I like to talk in layman terms. Think of it like fishing, okay? If you knew exactly where the type of fish were you want to catch, the size, everything, you could go directly there and drop your lure in, would that make sense? You'd probably catch more fish, the kind you want, and faster, and that's exactly what we're talking about today. Now, let me ask a quick question people want to know before we get into kind of the platforms. People always want to say, you know, want to ask me, okay, how much is it? And so just tell the people, just at a base level, what does it cost to get into this thing?
So I think like for a daily spend, which is what you want to focus on with social media, it's a little bit different than the pay-per-click as an example. You could get started for as little as $10 a day.
So small business we're talking here for $10 a day, bigger business is obviously much more. But it is very, very affordable. And you know, as Cheryl explains kind of where you might want to put your ads and why and how to do it, I think it's very important to understand that the analytics on this are through the roof, and the results we've seen from customers is very, very, very positive, which is why we're bringing it up today.
3 reasons that you would do social media marketing. Number one, brand awareness. So you just want to get your posts out there. You want more people to see them. You might want to generate some more likes or followers.
Yeah.
Second is consideration. So you're taking it that next step further and you're saying, come on over to my website, check out my product or service, see if you're interested. And then the third is conversion. And conversion, which you'll see for the most part with B2C, is when you're trying to sell a product directly on social media to your audience.
So last week we talked about the importance of the landing page too, which is critical because when you get someone to convert, if they do, you got to have the welcome party ready there to greet them and then take them in the direction that you want. Yeah. So maybe, you know, there's different platforms and there's different methodologies. Maybe talk to that if you can.
So Facebook's king. It always has been. It probably always will.
For B2B, we're talking here too, right? Or B2C.
I'd say 97% of marketers tend to do their paid campaign on Facebook too to see how it performs, because that's where you have the biggest amount of people.
Yeah.
So you want to pay attention to things like, you know, adding like dynamic ads. Maybe you want to do video. Video performs really, really well on Facebook. Moving into Instagram. Instagram is great if you're trying to do something visual. So if you're just trying to show off a new product that you want everyone to see, it's fantastic for that. Twitter can be, I'll say, a little bit more expensive. It's a little bit more subtle from an advertising perspective, but it's great for generating more followers. And then LinkedIn, B2B, of course. We have, 630 million users on LinkedIn. And out of that, I think 63 million are in a position of being a decision maker in a company. So that is a fantastic platform for B2B.
So, you know, I'm big on LinkedIn. We've got customers doing things on all different platforms. And so when someone wants to do this, Cheryl, suggestions that we see working for our clients.
So best practices from what I've seen, use video if you can. And not the video that you have on your homepage, because it's probably around the 1 to 3 minute mark. You want your video to be somewhere between 15 and 30 seconds. If you can't use a video, use an image. Try to use an image that's branded to your organization with colors, maybe pictures of your people would be fantastic.
Why would you do that? I don't know. Put the stock image in of, you know, multi-Caucasian happy group,
And it's
put your own
okay.
people in.
It's okay if you have to use stock photos, but try to use photos of actual people in those stock photos because they do typically perform better. Focus less on the pay-per-click concept because they will give you that, but just focus a little bit more on your daily spend. And like we said, you could start at $10 a day and still see results. And the last thing is just make sure you understand and know the specs of each platform because they all have different specs in terms of how big is the image, how large is the file.
I would equate it, and again, in layman terms, it's like entering the stock market, okay? You've got some tools you could get, yourself on the internet, but I think going to an agency, whether it's us or somebody else, they're going to have the insight and the tools to really measure, and testing is so important at the front end of these campaigns, so you don't waste your money. And again, we've seen some kind of train wrecks in this space, and it's really important, I think, to try something, test, measure, pivot, adjust, because the results we're seeing when it's done right are just through the roof. And again, we're not suggesting, by the way, today or in our last episode, that you bulldoze everything or the fundamentals, blogging, your SEO, all these kinds of things. This is just to get you to the front of the line again, exactly where the fish are biting on social media.
And if the bus stop's working for you, don't fix it if it's not broken, right? I mean, you can add lots of different things into your media mix. Don't forget the things you need to remember. Is this an awareness campaign? Is this a consideration campaign? Or is it a conversion campaign? And of course, we're here to help you out. So you can email us with any questions, contact us at engage@intucommunications.com. And don't forget to have fun with it. It is fun.
Yes.
I love doing paid advertising.
So just as we wrap up, last week we had a few comments like, is Cheryl that much shorter than you? So this week I'm intentionally at a lower level. So she is taller than she may have looked last week if you were watching.
And by the way, I didn't even move when that bee was buzzing around my head about 3 minutes ago. Did you notice that?
No. I
See you
just
next week, everybody.
focus on the audience.